All right. So I'm assuming that we are going to be waiting for it to actually go live. So hello to anyone who's watching the playback. We have organized ourselves to talk about magic claims.
Woo! Oh, you got the book.
I did. Well, and here's the one good thing about us pushing it back, because I read it as an ebook, but I had it already ordered. I actually ordered it twice and managed to cancel the second one. I don't know how I did that because the one I ordered the second time came before the one I ordered initially. So I got to cancel one of them. And so I reread it.
Well, that's nice.
And that made me happy.
I am very happy Hoopla had it.
Yes. Well, I'm expecting it to turn up on my Libby system soon because they had Magic Tides and no one had it out. I'm like, that's disappointing. People should be reading it. But anyway. All right. Should we do our introductions? Be like professional live show YouTubers.
Sure.
Just in case no one's ever been here before.
Yeah. If you haven't been here before, you missed out. Go watch all of the previous live shows. We did every single magic book.
Yeah, there is a playlist. I will add this one to the playlist when it's done.
I'm Megan, or Meowth Vader. I only show up in people's live shows and keep saying I'll post videos. And I still only show up in people's live shows.
And that's great. Hi, MJ.
Hi. I'm Heather from Hia Booktubes. I post videos regularly, consistently, Tuesdays and Saturdays, every day, every week of the year.
Tuesdays and Saturdays every day. Yes.
Yes, that's right. If it starts with one of the T's or one of the S's, then I'm
first
posting.
T and first S.
With the other one, not so much. Yeah, I love Ilona Andrews. I'm here. Right. I do feel like
we're all here.
The chances of the library having it are much higher since you do have to have read so many books to be reading this one.
That's fair.
But still, to me, it's just like greatest of all time. There's no way you get it from the library, so I buy all of the new releases, but it's a good time.
I think I have like 2 or 3 copies of the first book in the series, and that's it. That was by accident. I keep forgetting that I owned it, and then I would see it at a half price, and I'd buy it, and then now I have like 3.
Well, I've just been buying the ebooks of the new releases that we're doing the live shows for, like that week. So I'm like, okay, you have a week to read this. You can't get it from the library. Otherwise, I would probably just wait until I did get it from the library. But
that's
a small price to pay to get to talk to you all about it.
Yeah.
This is nice.
Crazy.
Anyway, hi, you're all on my channel. I do post videos. I try to be on time with them, but it just depends on the week. So
that's fair.
We're all here. And this week and next week are basically just a whole stack of live shows back to back. So you're welcome. I blame holidays.
Yeah, you always like to stack up those lives during your holidays.
Well, it's kind of the best time to do it because it's more flexible for you guys. And I am very tired because it is 8 o'clock in the morning. So I am going to try and hold conversation.
Disgusting behavior.
I mean, how dare I? How dare I?
Indeed.
You don't even drink coffee, so like I really cannot relate to you right now.
No, I do not drink coffee. And the worst thing is, like, normally we would do this later, but I have to go into work for a meeting in like 2 hours. And I just
on your own holiday.
On your day off of work. But
and I get it. Like I want to go, but I also don't want to go. So anyway.
I can't relate to that either. I just wouldn't want to go. There would be no conflict there. But like, no.
Well, it's more because it's about what I have to pick, what jobs I have to pick up next term. And I want to know that before I go into the first week of term. I don't want to have to do that on the fly.
Let me live in bliss.
Do more than you were already doing?
So my principal left at the end of last term. I can't remember how much I've told you guys of this.
Yeah.
So he's left. He got a job in Dubai as a principal over there.
Okay. Yes. This is where you
I remember this.
Yeah. And so for 3 weeks, so we have an acting principal who is coming in 3 weeks into the term. But in the meantime, one of our current assistant principals is stepping up into the role. But because he's stepping up, he has to get rid of some of his roles. So it's falling down to all of those of us who are sitting in the middle leadership category. And I'm like, I just want to know what it is that I'm supposed to be doing.
So you need to hire more people, but you haven't been able to.
Well, it's more that for 3 weeks, it's filling that gap until the other acting prin comes in, because then he goes back, my assistant principal goes back into his role and it's business as usual.
Okay, yeah. So it's just for a little bit.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Yeah, pretty much. Anyway, that's beside the point. Should we talk about this book? Because I loved this book.
It was very good.
I also loved it, obviously. Of course we did.
As the person who completely forgot that we were doing this live, I went into it with my brain on required reading mode, which means I didn't, the first like chapter or two, I was like, mer. And then like very soon after, I was like, oh, I just really love them and I need to reread the whole series.
Yeah. Understandable.
I love that we're getting both Karen and Kate's perspective in this series, because it's like Kate Daniels, but with more.
Yeah.
And I think I was saying to Heather when I first finished it that like the first Magic Tides was a good sort of standalone-ish story. You could see they were doing a little bit of setup, but this book really felt like it was setting up a whole new series. Like they decided what they wanted to do with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I miss this.
Yeah.
Because I missed it and I loved it, because I reread it last night and I'm like, no, this is why I like this series.
Right.
Agreed.
Yeah. I feel like like we said before, with the last book, you're getting like a new order representative, you're getting a new, the people, the vampires representative, and then the pack also. You're getting like the same factions but with different players. And also I think that we got like more with that family that's sworn to Kate's bloodline, the ones that are going to serve her now. I think that will play out in very interesting ways, especially because I'm not exactly sure how they're going to do it, but for the whole series, basically, Kate's power and bloodline and stuff has always been like a conflict with anyone she's close to, really. And so these are people who maybe that won't be a conflict for, or maybe it will just play out in different ways, because she's also had people in the past who like they just wanted to serve her no matter what, and she's like, this is bad, like you've been lied to about why you should serve me. So I'm interested to see kind of how our relationship with those two specifically grows.
Yeah.
I'll come back to sort of summarizing the book in a minute, but I was going to say on that, what I found really interesting was the conversation that Kate has with Joshua. I don't know how.
Yeah, I think it's what
I don't remember their names. I won't lie to you.
Yeah. But the fact that like she knew of them and she knew, and to her mind, what she had been told was that they needed her power in order to come into their own abilities. And that they even revealed that they don't even need that. They're powerful in their own right. Maybe not on the same level as Kate and her father, but like it's
like show of faith.
But that it almost puts them more on even footing, because and he directly says it to her, your father never treated us as equals, whereas
like we never just know us. Sat and had coffee together.
Yeah. And I really like that, because I think Kate spends a lot of time, and I mean, she gets called on it multiple times in the book, of being afraid of her own abilities and afraid of going too far. And I think that's what the book was really about, was more her realizing that just own what you've got.
Right.
Yeah, I also liked the talks, I guess, that they had about how to raise Conlon, and like they're like, no, we don't want him to be like a spoiled prince or a boy king. We want him to be but we also don't want him to just be like fight to survive. We just want him to be as well adjusted as he could possibly be given the circumstances.
Right.
Yeah.
So I like that they would unpack things with him too. Like they're like, no, you can't do it, and here's why. Or I know that you think this is unfair, but like here's the reasoning. Or do you understand like why this is happening? And I really liked that, because it's like he's not an idiot. He's just a kid.
Yeah.
Right.
And you know, I think it's easy to forget, you know, he's still eight in this book, but he's an intelligent kid, and you have kids like that. And I mean, he's being raised by two very intelligent people who don't try and sugarcoat it, or don't try and keep him away from things, but try and explain it so that he understands it. And even Kate's conversation with her dad around, let him see you, like think about what you say to him, because we unpack it, and let him see you as the grandfather, because one day he might turn around and realize what you're really like, and that's going to be on you, not on us or him.
Yeah, which I think that came up because like her dad was like bad mouthing Curran.
Yeah.
And so she was like, no, you don't understand. Like you can bad mouth Curran all you want, but like when he comes home, we unpack that and try to explain why he thinks that, when like obviously your father is not like that.
Yeah. Right. And as someone with kids and with toxic people in my children's lives, that's a very real thing to have to unpack the conversations that were had, or even just be like, it's okay for people to feel that way about your parents, but it's not okay for them to tell you that they feel that way about your parents. Like that's automatically inappropriate, and that automatically puts them in the wrong. But also, like, your kids continuing to have relationships with those people because they're family members.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know. It's relatable.
Yeah. It's very smartly written. And, you know, considering, I mean, this is longer than Magic Tides, but I don't think it's not as long as some of the other novels. But I think what's included in it is done really well for the length of the book as well, because there's so much in this book.
Yes.
Yeah. I didn't realize until it was said that Curran and Kate had been married for 10 years.
Yeah.
Like I know if I add the math up, that's right. It didn't process in my head that it has been 10 years of them together.
Well, we have anybody remember what book they got married in Kate Daniels? Was it like 7 or 8?
I think it was like 7.
Yeah. Maybe.
I was also thinking 7.
They got married before getting pregnant, right?
Yes.
Like maybe like
I think it was
a couple of years. They were married for a couple of years, trying to like navigate her as consort.
Yeah.
And
it
then,
was
they had Conlon.
It had to be 7 or 8, because 9 and 10 are almost that standalone after when Kate's pregnant and after Conlon's born.
I think they got married in like 7, because I think there was a good couple of books where they were trying to figure out Kate's place in the hierarchy.
No,
because they got married after they split from the pack. So I think it was 9.
She was his partner.
Yeah, they were partners.
Oh, okay. I thought they were married.
She was consort, but not wife.
Oh, okay.
Do you know what this conversation tells me? Just need to go back and read it.
I'm waiting for more of the graphic audios to release. I think 2 or 3 of them have already.
Like right now, I don't have any Ilona Andrews books scheduled for July. I'm like, what if I just reread the second Kate Daniels? Because I reread the first one like right at the end of December. So on my reread,
Yeah, well, I started Magic Burns on the graphic audio, but I was waiting for it to drop because it drops on the graphic audio website like weeks before it goes onto Audible.
Yeah, I saw that my Hoopla had Magic Bites and Magic Burns and graphic, and I was like, oh, well, I do have a couple extra loans that are going to reset at the end of the month. Maybe I will.
Yeah, worth it.
Fine.
Worth it.
And then maybe I'll finish this sock that I've been knitting on for like a month.
So I'm also like, I could take a whole month off of Ilona Andrews. That might help keep everything fresh. So I don't know. We'll see.
It is a pretty good voice for Bran, actually. But I'm not that far into it.
Where was the bonus short story in Conlin's POV? Because I don't know that I read that.
There was a bonus short story?
Yeah.
It'll be on their website.
They commented.
Yeah.
I do love, that is something that I do love in the series, that Curran has a alternating chapter POV. I love that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think it's nice being in his head now. And like going back to the fact like we don't often read series where the couple is established and settled. And like you can tell like this relationship is solid. They know each other really well. They love each other. They recognize each other's strengths. And the fact that, you know, they have these conversations throughout the book around, I feel really bad because now I'm back into fighting, even though we said we weren't going to be. And then, but hang on, this is the old you, the you that I've known for years. It doesn't scare me. Like those conversations I really liked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also think when you are in such a long-term relationship that it can be scary maybe to enter new phases, you know? Partially because it's like things are good or things could be a little bit better. And that's just, you know, part of the flow of life, right? But is changing this going to make it better, or is it going to make it a lot worse? Because, you know, you don't want to put an unnecessary strain on your relationship. And also you don't really want to drag your partner kicking and screaming into a, you know, I can't think of the word I want, but a reality that they don't want to be in. Like, this is not the life that they are trying to sign up for, but because they're with you, you're, you know, pulling them along with you. And it's like, this isn't what I want. And I can't get, like, I want to stay with you, but I don't want to do this. And we can't get out of it right now. I feel like that's good. I think it's well done.
There's not many characters in relationships, even in the romance books that I read, where the characters are so evenly matched.
Right.
And I think that's a huge part about what makes it work and why people keep coming back to it, because they're equals and they both have their own pasts where Curran was in charge of an entire pack, and you always knew that him stepping down from that, it was not the pack. And I liked the way they deconstructed sort of why he came into being the Beast Lord and why it would never have worked long term, why it wasn't sustainable and why it's not sustainable now. Like, I love all that sort of institutional organization sort of stuff. But it doesn't mean it would prevent him from helping other people in need. And also Kate can't help herself from helping people in need.
Especially because we're reading where we've already gone through like a very tumultuous breakup with the pack. Like when they left the pack, I was so furious at like everyone in the pack. I was just like, y'all are not treating them right. Like, this is, you know, by the time we left them, it was like, well, good. Even if you still liked those people as characters on their own, you didn't want that dynamic to continue.
Yeah.
So for them to be like, oh, we're doing it again, they really do have to be like, okay, but we're not doing that again.
Yeah.
And it's very realistic. I mean, as someone who's going through organizational change again for the second time in 2.5 years, if you think of it as an organization, like, of course people reacted the way they did because no one likes change.
Mhm.
But you have to stop thinking about yourself as the individual in the organization, and look at it as what's going to be most beneficial for everyone.
Yeah.
And things couldn't continue the way that they were because it wasn't sustainable.
And also that starting over from scratch somewhere else is doable, whereas trying to restructure when you're already so large, it's like you can't do it.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that I really enjoyed is they have like these big governmental style things where they're like potentially making a new type of pack and hashing out all of the politics on that, and then they have to fight these Ice Age beasts and fae. And then the epilogue, just like the beginning of the book, was Kate being like, I am in never-ending renovation hell. And I was like, I love that, like that it's like the thing that stressed her out the most. Like the thing that was most relieving at the beginning was they're finally done with the renovations, and then at the end she's just like, it's never ending, I hate this. And I was like, I just like, because it's like all of this amazing stuff is happening, but like they're still regular people just trying to live their lives, and renovations suck.
For all that it's a series about magic and incredible power and magical creatures and whatnot, it's very grounded in reality.
Right.
And like all the best fantasy is, but and I think that's probably why I gravitate towards more urban fantasy than high fantasy, because you can, even if it's some kind of unreal situation, you go, no, hang on, I can relate to this and I know exactly what this feels like. And renovation is hell no matter whether you're living in a magic society or whether you're living in reality.
Right.
Yeah. It's just all powerful Kate still has to wait for contractors to reno her whole place.
It's like the same thing as when the first series was first starting, and she was like, I'm never going to have someone to make me a cup of coffee and ask me how my day was and stuff. And like, that's all she wanted. That thing that like all of us want in one way or another, whether romantic partner or not, but just people who care that you exist and they are willing to take care of you if you need it. And, you know, all of that. Like, for all the fantastical things in the series, that was like Kate's driving force for all of this, is just that's what she wants, that little moment. I will literally tear up like this.
Oh, I do also want to kind of see what's going on in Atlanta. Like hearing it is just making me be like, oh my God, I want to like see what Andrea thinks of everything that's happening.
And like, you have to remind me too, or if we know or don't know, and guys, if you're watching, if you know, please tell me. Are we like sure on what of the like Julie series and stuff? Is that all like that's happening at the same time as this?
It is, and it was referenced in here because this is the book where Kate finds out that Julie has been injured and now looks different. And that and like the first time it's hang on, well, there was 9 months where she didn't speak to Era or Julie.
Right.
And then Joshua gives her the photo of Julie. And I think if you consider the way Ascanio was behaving in Blood Ties, is it Blood Ties? Names. Anyway.
No. In Julie's book?
Blood
Air. The way he was behaving, I can believe that ties into sort of parallel to this. Because when he was confronting people, that was sort of what you would do if you were one of the leaders of the pack and there was new shapeshifters in town.
Okay, because they were talking about him wanting to try and take over from Jim. Okay, yes.
And then I think that's also right, because Kate mentions how she like hasn't been able to see Julie. Like she's like, it's been months, like I've seen her at least in the fire, and even now I haven't been able to do that.
I feel
I just talked to her on the phone.
I really hope so, but I feel like with Julie's series, I'm thinking like she has her reunion with Kate not at the end of the series, like more middle to beginning. I'm hoping. Well, the whole thing still annoys me so much.
Me too.
With the way it's being set up, I'm kind of hoping that they start to alternate between this and Julie's series, because the way that it seems to be set up is that we're going to see what happens with the pack, but from two perspectives.
Right.
And because I don't think Kate and Karen aren't going to go back to Atlanta.
No, they said that they're building a stronghold so that when people start leaving the Atlanta pack, they have somewhere to go.
Yeah, so the only way that we get sort of that side of the story, the Atlanta side of the story, is through Julie's book, because it's the only one that's happening there.
Right.
Which will be interesting, because I think it's setting, not that Julie can claim Atlanta, but it's almost setting Julie up.
Do we think Julie and Derek are like entering a power vacuum at some point?
Oh, probably.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe.
But it almost evens it out, because like it's almost like the power imbalance in Atlanta is too great. Like it wasn't sustainable when Karen was in charge, and now that Jim's sort of just taking in everyone, it's shifting too much in favor of there being too many shifters, because they were already the largest pack in.
Yeah, and they said that it grew from it grew to 14,000 or something, like a number that you cannot control.
It's swelled up,
and it wasn't documented. It was just
unofficial.
Yeah.
Oh, hang on, this one first. Well, yeah, and the other thing I was talking to someone about, for as mad as I was at Jim for his sort of behavior at the end of the series, like I get it, and I
though.
I know, and
I'm more mad at Jim now. Like this book is making me more angry at Jim. I used to love him. That's why I feel so angry.
But you know what? I think it's less about being like, I'm not actually mad at him anymore. Like I was mad when everything went down with the pack in the original series.
Yeah.
And I think he underestimated what it takes to be in charge of that many people.
He's doing the best he can, and
he's doing the best he can.
He can't do it.
And his personality is not really suited to that situation. Like if he's letting people in because whether it's because he cares too much or an ego or a combination of all of them, and that's fine, because that's being a person.
Yeah.
Like he is not the best person for that job, and the pack doesn't really have anyone.
Yeah,
and the pack is at the point, like Curran was saying, basically, that you could have the best person in the world for the job, and it wouldn't be enough at this point. Like it's just not going to work. It's
like he was like, even if I stepped back in, it wouldn't work.
Right.
Yeah.
The cracks are there, and you can ignore them. You can duct tape them. You can super glue them. You can do whatever you want, but they're there. And
Jim was literally a duct tape situation.
Mm-hmm.
And Jim is so smart, but he's also so paranoid, and he's also, well, even like the stage of life that he's at, like all of that affects your priorities and all of the things.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel for Jim, because Lord knows I wouldn't want to be doing what he's doing.
I think that I like how they're going in the new direction of it shouldn't be like separated. It's not just the shifters and then everyone else. Like they've realized that they need to mingle. Also, Curran hearing the story about what Jim said to Kate at the end, and him just being like, "You never told me this story," and is like, upset. She's like, "I don't have time for your upsetty spaghetti. We're doing something else."
It's like, there's a reason I didn't tell you this story, and this is why.
But also, just remembering it all, it's like,
I'm stuck, Jim.
Yeah.
It's like, that's what you get. I think when I was reading that, and they were like, he's drowning now. I'm like, that's what you get.
Yeah, but I think who else were they going to put in charge? And in that case, like I can't be mad at Jim. I can not like decisions that he's made, But
Right.
I mean, I would not take that job.
Right.
Oh yeah, no, Ascanio would die. Someone would
in their
murder
right
him.
mind would take it?
0% chance.
Yeah. And yeah, Ascanio is definitely not.
I literally cannot even with that kid.
I know.
And
I
you know
can't.
what? It like really reminds me of like 22-year-olds that I know in real life. It's just like, guys, please. Like, I am not even going to waste my time explaining how wrong you are. Like, I'm not going to. But also just the way my skin just crawls, like the cringe at like having a 21-year-old in charge of
I mean, Kern was 15
for anything. Oh, they're just not all of them, but like the ones I'm thinking of, they're good kids. Like they're not. I like them. They're good kids, and they're 21-year-olds.
They don't really have the life experience.
It's just like, and also,
this is why we started the story once Kern was 30 and not
like I was
15, boy king.
my husband tonight, like, I mean, it's just immaturity and what I would expect from someone that age and that position. Like, you can't blame them because they just are what they are.
Yeah.
But also, I don't want to have to listen to you because you don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. And I think from the conversations that we had with the characters in the book around the pack structure, none of the pack leaders, well, maybe the wolves could do it, but no one wants the wolves to take over the leadership because they outnumber everyone else. The cats don't want it.
Yeah.
And everyone else is too small. And the only sort of smaller clan that has the clout to even try and do it, to try and stop everything from falling to pieces, might be the Buddhas, but it doesn't make them the right choice.
But also no one trusts them.
The one with the most resources.
Yeah, no one trusts them though, because they go out for number one. That's what they said the problem was. They were like,
I mean, to be
even
fair,
if I'm profiting, I still feel weird. Like I got
when we first met them, they were already kind of outcasts of the pack a little bit. Like they weren't trusted in the first place. But yeah, Raphael's wheeling and dealing has not really put them in a place where they can.
No.
And then Ascanio being Ascanio, it's just not.
Just I can't. But I wonder too. Okay, wait though. Does this like play into Julie and specifically Derek, like putting him in his place like they've always done? And then I don't see him like sitting there and taking it. Like I see him moving, like leaving and going to a different area. I don't know.
Yeah, probably.
I want the Cassandra and Nick backstory.
Yeah, that would be good. I think like it would be really, if we weren't so far into the series and sort of everything that's happened, it would almost work better to have Derek, Julie, and Ascanio in charge in Atlanta. But they've sort of, where Ascanio's story has branched off, which sucks because I like him as a character. I think like just the way that he reacts to things is very on brand for him. But yeah, because I think when you rely on one person to be in charge of something like that, you're setting them up to fail. Whereas if they actually had a strong partnership or group that were on even footing, but I don't think they're there at the moment to do that. But anyway.
I did like seeing Luther.
Oh, I love seeing Luther.
That was great. I also like how like Kate was explaining who Luther was. It's like the wizard is here.
Yeah.
I loved his shirt, his little Tolkien. The wizards, what is it? Wizards are never late shirt. That was great.
Well, I just like I've forgotten which shifter it was going. Kate's like, is it Luther? Well, he looks like a Luther. Are you a Luther?
It was the Jinx. I think it was the Bauta.
Yeah, it was Jinx.
So,
Oh, that's right. It was Jinx. Like, yep, that's on brand.
Yeah.
And just Luther when she's like, yeah, we're just gonna knock it all down, and he's like, what do you mean you're gonna knock it down? Well, I'm gonna knock it down, and I'm gonna basically make sure that none of this old magic stuff is still here. But you can have these artifacts. Would you like them?
I like that he was like, do you know how expensive that's gonna be? And she just opens the door and it's just like a dragon horde treasure trove.
Also, I think that should make for some very interesting projects in the rest of the series. Because Curran is...
Oh my god, Curran. They just got their beach house finished, their beach fortress finished, and now he's like...
You think they ever go to the beach house to get away from the storm?
Well, see, now, at least now they have a holiday house to get away from everyone.
Right. Yeah.
Speaking of, I feel like we've talked a lot about like our characters and everything, but like specifically in this book, I messaged Steph about this when we read it. I was like, they're walking through the woods and that like young shifter goes to poke like the magic stick, and he's like, no, you don't do anything like that. You listen to the consort. And she's like, well,
I don't really know what it is.
With a stick.
I'm gonna poke it with a stick.
Difference being, I poke it with a stick with a magic ward that stops us from getting
killed
by
exactly.
Yes. I just loved that he's like, this is a learning point. Why? Don't poke it with a stick, right, Kate? And she's like, I'm gonna poke it with that stick. And
also,
he puts his face.
He was so annoyed with her, but then like she saved them from death, and he was like, and that's why.
And that's why you don't poke it with a stick. Like specifically you. That's why you don't poke it with a stick. Let her poke it with a stick.
Yeah.
I did love that.
That was funny.
I also loved Conlin. Conlin has a friend now, and he's like, the mer boy from the last one.
Yeah.
Also, him riding like a mastodon or whatever.
Yeah.
At the end was great.
The Ice Age shifters were like a very ingenious touch. I feel like that was fascinating. Also, Curran fighting another
one of him.
What is it called?
First.
They said okay. I was like, the one is not right. It's not the one.
That's the first.
Yeah, that was one. So with that first, are you guys thinking that the first was also controlled by the Fae Queen?
Yeah.
Like they weren't in partnership, more so he was being controlled. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we probably would have had more scenes with the first if it was. And it made me really sad because I mean that happened because, and even Kate going, well, this is a chance for Conlin to actually possibly come into contact with and his ancestry, literally.
Yeah, other people or other shifters like him.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think all of them were being controlled. And I think even if the Fae had slipped the leash on the first,
well, I know all of them were being controlled, but I wasn't sure on the first so much.
Yeah.
I did feel like he was being controlled, but I didn't know.
I mean, either that or like manipulated.
Yeah,
because they said that they didn't see the shifters as like people. They were the lowest.
Yeah,
the lowest on the totem pole. So.
Yeah, definitely not.
And even the shifters that survived, the whole last couple of chapters, I'm just like,
and
because
Kate almost killing herself.
Who was just following Kate around, and even Kate just going, no, she's doing that. She can't communicate, but that's her way of saying, please don't kill me. I'm useful.
Yeah.
I really hope that she comes back as a character in the series.
Kate almost dying to protect 10, like as many as she could, basically, by claiming the land when she didn't have any more left in the tank.
Yeah. And everyone just being, why did you do that?
Because she's Kate.
Because she's Kate.
I like that Kate realized that that's like a family trait where she's like, I'm nothing like my father. But they're like, well, your father wanted to protect everyone by he distorted it so much that he tried to create a utopia. And she's like, yeah, I think I have more in common with my dad than I'd like to admit. Because she also wants everyone to protect everyone.
But I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it's the way that you go about trying to achieve it.
Yeah. Which is focused on, like, I like that it's like, no, like she is like her father. She is her father's child, but they're not alike in like different aspects.
Well, even like what's the aunt's name?
Era.
She even talked about how the brother that she woke up to was a corruption, basically, of who he was as a person.
Which mirrors probably mirrors the Fae. I mean, I would assume that the Fae was probably like that beforehand.
Yeah.
But even more so in a time and a place that she doesn't understand.
Yeah, it seems like based on the paintings on the wall and stuff, like she was already pretty awful before the...
Yeah.
What Hugh reveal? Someone jog my memory.
Was it about him having a bunch of kids?
Oh, I thought we already knew that.
Yeah, I thought we did. I don't know.
Yeah.
But what was it? I like the...
Is that what we're talking about?
I don't even know what we're talking about.
I'll see if I can find my Hugh references.
Her cousin?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, he was Kate's cousin.
He's not a...
This show.
He's not a blood cousin, but they just refer to each other as cousins.
Yeah.
I think, don't they call him like an uncle to Conlon?
Yeah, they refer to each other as siblings before.
Yeah, because they call, I think they call him and they call Nick Conlon's uncles.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, because in the original series, I think they got to the point it was kind of like a sibling relationship, whereas now I think it's more cousins.
I do like the, oh, I remember what I was going to say now. I liked that when Kate's dad got mad, his temper tantrum was making a volcano that conveniently missed his gardens.
Oh, yeah.
And being manipulative while he was doing it.
Yeah, she's like, you mad? And then she looks and she's like, oh, how considerate. The lava went around the garden.
I do not know what you're talking about, FNS. I believe you, but I don't know.
I don't know. I don't remember where it was said.
Unless it's something to do with the fact that maybe he has some of Roland's blood in him. But
I don't know. If it was a reveal in this book, I can tell you that I missed it.
I also missed it.
Again, this is just case for me to go back and reread the series
right
from the start.
I do love the face turn of Hugh. Like that is one of my favorite things about.
I clearly need an Aaron book.
Yeah. That is like this whole series. I just really liked Hugh going from like ultra bad guy to like
I love Hugh's
uncle, lovable uncle.
There was the conversation.
You don't even get to talk about this because you don't like his book. So
I don't like his book, but I still like him in the book. Same as I like Nick in the book.
Great character.
Invalid.
But I like the conversation where Kate and Karen are talking about her family. It's like, well, you don't like my family. Yeah, that's because your dad tried to kill you. Your aunt tried to kill you. And Hugh tried to kill you.
Yeah.
Everybody tried to kill him.
And I'm only liking Hugh a little bit more now because he's mellowed because he's got a wife and kids.
Nick, Jim, Eric, Curran.
Yeah, but she doesn't think of Jim as family anymore. But like Nick tried to kill her, she sees him as family. Hugh tried to kill her, she sees him as family. Era tried to kill her, that is her literal aunt. Her dad tried to kill her.
I feel kind of sad at the end of the book because they've got the order trying to open up a chapter in their new
one-person chapter.
One-person chapter, and she's like, well, we can't tell Nick because Nick will tell Cassandra.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's kind of sad because, well, I like Kate and Nick's antagonistic relationship. I find it hilarious.
It is great. Well, she said that she still visits. Like, she's still going to go visit because they have to. They just don't want them to know about the pack plans.
But I also find it interesting that Nick hasn't told the Wilmington order who Kate is. which I'm going to come back to that in a minute because I want to talk about the vampire.
Well, not
But
even just Nick, but the fact that the information is sealed at a security level.
Because she was like, how do they have nothing on me?
Yeah.
So Nick's kept his mouth shut.
Mm-hmm.
Which
it's because he secretly loves Kate in like a brotherly way, not like a romantic.
He's truly the biggest grump, and I love him so much.
He's great.
I kind of want Isaac to be the knight that's stationed.
That's what they think they were leaning towards, was to have Isaac be that. I did really love that Isaac got the killing blow, basically. Well,
Okay,
like
the one that was on, that was the lone survivor of the forest. Yeah. Okay.
Who was like, I'm going, like, when I can, I want to come and get all of my people.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I like him.
I also like that we found out about a new group of knights, because the Pathfinders I don't think the Pathfinders have been mentioned in the previous series.
No, I've never heard of a Pathfinder.
And I like the idea of that. But yes, I do want to come back to the vampire in the order.
That was hilarious.
That was so good. She was like, do you want them to never bother you again?
Dance.
Yeah. And just what's his name's reaction?
I love that she was like, and bow, and then like no one applauded. She was like, I can't believe y'all didn't applaud. And so the order just starts slow clapping.
Yeah.
Kate's still Kate. I think that's what I like. It's like 10 years later, a few extra side series. Kate's still Kate. Yes, I'm a little teapot.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how long she plays this game with the people here, because that was a big part of the first series, was her interacting with vampire navigators and being better than all of them and not letting on.
Well, I don't think it will be as long, because she said that she wants to start training Conlon
with vampires.
So she's going to have to get vampires from somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's does Gastech know that Kate is gone? Because isn't he the leader of the one in Atlanta now?
I think he does know.
Well, I meant, like, does he know where she's gone?
Probably not. But he's fairly loyal, because they're now separate from the rest of. Gastech separated them from the rest of the.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
I think they know where she is and stuff.
Yeah,
they're just not sharing it with Mark.
I don't really think her location is hidden necessarily.
Well, but they're not sharing it with the farm, is what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think Gastech has more loyalty to Kate than he does to
the people.
Yeah,
as long as she stays away from his collection of vampires.
I still love that.
Yeah.
What is he doing? I believe that's I'm a little teapot, short and stout.
Look, there's his handle.
Oh
my gosh.
And then the pirouette and the like bow, and no one clapped, and she's like, rude.
Actually, the other thing that I'd written down was that first fight with also sad because the rhino, but Owen fighting the rhino and being like, I can take him. He's like 3 times the size of me, but I can take this rhino.
I do like that it started with him going, hey, you need a ride? I'll be your steed. And then instantly just like fight thing. Like, oh my God. And then on Curran's point of view, he's like, oh, I know exactly what happened. Like, I wasn't even here to see it, and I know what happened.
Yeah.
And then who is the I've forgotten the name of their med mage. And he's just like, Troy. I kept thinking Tony. I'm like, no, that's Innkeeper. Troy's like, was it worth it? It's like, yeah.
I think I love that, because it was Owen was like, Troy's having a bad day or something. And so then when it flipped and he's like, is Owen having a bad day? And he's like, hell no, man.
Yeah.
I do like the new shifters that we've got in this series.
Me too.
I think they've got good personalities.
I feel like because they were like the like ancillary to the pack, like HQ, that they're more like free, basically. So like they're still stringent and have like the pack rules that need to be maintained so that they don't go loop.
Yeah.
But they're like more free to have personality.
Yeah. That is cool.
Yeah, and we know that Ilona Andrews can write never-ending, interesting, unique side characters and make you.
And we just know I would like their book, and I would like their book, and I would like their book.
Yep.
Like they clearly have no limit on that. So
still looking for a Barabbas book.
Yes. You're never gonna get it.
I know. No. Even just a short, just like a little like one-off 2 pages, just something.
Look, as long as in Julie's book, Barabbas and Christopher sort of become like advisors or people at least on a tangent, because I also just miss having Christopher. Weird Christopher.
Julie's books need to get their act together.
Well, yes.
I am so mad at Julie's books, so I'm just like, I know I'm going to read the next one because I have to. Just like I will read Hugh's book because I have to, even without y'all. But like,
I was going to say, we can just drop you.
I just want to, like, I'm actually wondering if when they wrote Julie's book, they didn't have the plan that they had for here.
I don't know. I'm still mad at them. That's the only
I know you're still mad at it, but I think one of the biggest things that book felt like it was lacking was the future direction of the series. It just felt like we're going to plonk Julie and Derek back in Atlanta and write a story. But it didn't feel like it was setting up anything.
No. See, here's where you're wrong. Because they like made up all of this that they didn't have to make up at all. They could have picked up Julie and Derek right at the end of Kate's series. It could have been like 3 months later. It did not have to be, what is it, 10, 8?
But that's what I mean, because they did the same thing with Hugh's book, because they're going to have to retroactively adjust things from Hugh's timeline to fit the new timeline. Sort of.
I don't think that they are.
I feel like it's far enough out.
I think we're getting multiple of Hugh's books timeline-wise before the end of Magic Triumphs. I think his books happen before the end of book 10.
Yeah.
I don't think we're getting Hugh's books the same time as we're in right now.
I don't know if they were planning on writing this series. The Wilmington
I don't think they were. I don't think they were ever planning on writing this series.
No, and I think they wrote Julie's book, and then they came back to this one, which is why Julie's book doesn't, like, to me, it's the one that doesn't fit as neatly into the world that they've created.
The thing with Julie's book, and I will die on this hill. The thing with Julie's book is they had to really change a lot about not only Julie and Derek's relationship, not only their support system, but also their characters. Like
their personalities are different.
In Julie's book is not the Julie that we left. She's just not.
No, but we also don't have Julie's story for.
Well, the Derek that we have is it's not even the same person anymore.
Again, we don't we're missing 8 years of history.
Stab me in the heart. They were the worst.
And part of it felt like, I know we talked earlier about the fact that Kate and Curran's relationship is really solid, and it's probably one of the best ongoing relationships in a series.
Yeah.
It felt like they were trying to force a setup situation for Derek and Julie in that book as
Daniels 2.0.
Yeah, but in trying to create that situation in a book without context for what's gone on in the part, like if we'd had that book with 8 years of history and knew exactly what
I don't even think 8 years of history would help, because, and I think part of this is probably my personality, right? But just like, what do you mean it's 8 years later and you still don't have your act together to literally just tell me that you love me? Like, that's the big ask and we're going on. Like, I understood. And again, like, they had all that angst and buildup because Julie was underage, and they handled that so well. It wasn't creepy, it wasn't groomy, it wasn't any of that. It was like they were each other's person, but Derek was not going there romantically at all whatsoever, right? And then it's like, when did Julie leave at the end of, is she like 17, 18? Or like a couple months till 18 or something? It's like you took her right up to the edge of adulthood, which not that like, okay, it's your 18th birthday. Go consummate the relationship with Derek. Like, not like that, but still, it's like you took her right up to the like age of adulthood, and then you were like, let me give you an extra 10 years of just not telling each other how you feel, not communicating, not doing anything.
Yeah.
I hate it.
I know, but that's why I think Blood Heir is the outlier in all of the books, and I need to say I will believe that they can turn it around.
I believe that they'll fix it. I believe that they'll fix it. Although I was surprised that they did it in the first place, to be perfectly honest, because they're just so good with their characters that it was weird for them to miss, I guess.
Yeah.
And I
really
think
does
they
feel
have
like
a plan, and I think they'll fix it. And I think by the end, I'll be like, Julie and Derek forever. I'm already like Julie and Derek forever, but
was it a pandemic book? I can't remember if it was written before or during.
It was before.
Okay.
I think part of why
you guys had excuse.
I think the pandemic is part of why we haven't gotten the next one, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, look, at least all I can say is at least now it feels like they have a direction and something mapped out, so I could see it playing into.
Oh, it was January 2021.
Okay. Well, there you go.
Yeah. I read Iron and Magic years before I finished Kate Daniels, so I know that one's older, but I don't know.
I still like Iron and Magic. Maybe I'll reread that one.
I do love Iron Magic. Despite what some people have to say about the matter. What's that? Is it Lady Catherine de Bourgh or is it Mrs. Bennet? Oh, it's Mrs. Bennet. Like trash talking Darcy, like in the same room as Darcy. Like, despite what certain gentlemen have to say. That's what I feel like.
We are all entitled to our own opinions.
And those who say otherwise quite mistake the matter. Oh dear. But yeah.
It's not the narrator, it's the story.
Well, I don't think I've listened to the audiobook for Iron and Magic, so maybe I should do that. Wonder if it's one that I actually already have.
You might. You gave me a gifted copy of it, I think. Because I remember in order for me to read it, I had to sign up for Australian Audible.
Oh shit, sorry.
No, you're good. I read it.
Normally I'm really good at remembering to give the right country's gift card.
No, you're good.
Because it's a pain in the ass because everyone gets me Amazon US and I can't buy ebooks on Amazon US gift cards. I have to buy physical books. I should know better.
You gave me like the actual copy of the book, and then I was like, oh, why is it not here? And then I was like, oh, I guess I'm making an Australian account.
That's okay. I have a US, an Australian, and a UK Amazon account. Because apparently I need
someone try and gift me an ebook that was UK, I think, and I couldn't read it.
Yeah. So I have learnt the tricks because like if you try and buy something from someone's wish list and they're in a different country, you don't get all of the purchase options. So I figured out how to get around that. Basically, you just lie and say that you're in the country and change your postcode to a postcode from the country that you're in or that you're purchasing for. And yeah, don't send gift cards from the wrong store.
What a pain. right,
The world is a big place and things are annoying.
Do we have anything else in this book?
I don't think so. There were some funny lines in this book.
They now have Ice Age barn animals, which is very funny.
It is.
And I want to know what Owen's problem is with cowboys.
Yeah. Yes, Sweep of the Heart is
next Thursday.
Thursday.
It's Thursday.
Hang on.
Everybody's schedule right now is such a joke that we are having trouble lining up those schedules.
I'm pretty sure it's Thursday.
I have it on Friday.
Yes. No, it's Thursday.
Is it Friday? It's Thursday. Yeah.
It's Thursday at 8 p.m.
The 6th.
8 p.m. Eastern?
8 p.m. Eastern.
Yes.
Okay.
If you are in the Southern Hemisphere, that is Friday the 7th at 10 o'clock in the morning. But the next live show on this channel is on Sunday night, which is the A to Z.
Megan, have you started Sweep of the Heart yet?
I finished this book in time.
You did.
Sweep of the Heart
twice the size.
It's like 3 times the size of this.
I have the audiobook though for that one.
Tonight or tomorrow, you must start Sweep of the Heart. It is long.
I'll be fine. I have the audiobook.
We need a message Izzy too. It's that time.
It is. Although she's currently helping her mom move, so
shh. She can listen to an audiobook. I have faith in
her. Here you go.
Sweep of the Heart. Oh, good job. Live show is 1.
Hello. You will enjoy this book. This book was great.
It was very good.
Sweep of the Heart is also very good.
I don't know. I haven't started it.
Very entertaining.
It is. I did struggle. I will not lie. It took me 2 weeks to read that book. So it's fine. I finished it. It was the only book I read for the first 12 days of June. And I started it in May.
Fair enough.
But I will say probably like the last 70% or so I read within like 2 days. But
yeah, there's a little bit of setup in this one.
It was a long one.
I actually had to orient myself a little bit more for this book, and despite the fact that I've read the others so many times before it, it's just a little bit different. But anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's everything. Oh, one thing I did say, one of my favorite lines in the entire book was Curran telling Kate, "I trust you with my life, but not with yours."
Yes, I wanted to talk about that line and I forgot, but yes, agreed.
Like that
I feel like that was a married couple.
It's such a married couple
jab. It's like, yeah, I'm not gonna. I know you.
I know you. I know what you're going to say. You need a med mage, and I trust you with my life, but not with yours.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, that's a solid footing relationship type of jab.
They're just such a good couple.
They are.
I love them.
They are. Alrighty. We might wrap this up.
Yeah.
So we will meet again whenever we get the next book in whichever series, whenever it comes out. Someone will have to poke me if something is announced, because I'm clearly not paying attention. Thank you for joining us. All right.
See y'all same bat day, same bat channel next week.
You say that, but now I feel like I need to go borrow my friend's bat costume.
Yes.
That would be hysterical. I'm sorry. That would be funny.
Look, on the last day of term, everyone dressed up as animals or wore animal print or something, and she came dressed as a bat. I'm like, I want that costume. That is great.
I love
that. Anyway. That's so funny.
Oh, I should have worn my lion costume today. Oh, well. Next one.
Next time.
Next
all right.
filming.
Have a good night, everyone, or a good day. And we will see you all next time. Bye.
Bye.